All right, so tonight, December 16th at 6 p.m. will be our next City Council meeting at City Center South. If you choose to go in person, you can also watch online. This is just the overview of the agenda. So first there will be the normal stuff, what's great about Greeley, initiatives, proclamations. I don't know if there are any, I don't think I saw any. And of course, community input, where any member of the community can come and speak about any topic they wish for up to 3 minutes. The consent agenda, just a reminder, this is, they either vote for everything to go through or they can decide to pull agenda items if they want to discuss further. Resolutions generally only require 1 reading, whereas ordinances require a 2nd reading with public hearings. So there are a few different resolutions that are on the consent agenda. The first one is to authorize a professional services agreement with the design team for Ferguson Park, which will be the new dog park and community park. I can't find the map. I'm pretty sure that that is in West Greeley off of Highway 34 past 65th Ave. I'd heard about it at a LULAC meeting, so I'm pretty sure that that's the one. But this would just be allowing them to work with who won that bid. Then there will be a resolution to create a committee with other municipal entities around water storage and distribution. If that goes through, they'll also authorize an intergovernmental agreement between that committee of municipal entities and the water supply and storage company. And then they will be reappointing 3 different municipal judges who have also been assistant liquor licensing hearing officers as recommended by Judge Gonzales. Those 3 are Jerry Manzer, Keith Coleman, and William Sierra. Then on the regular agenda, we have a couple public hearings. So the first one is non-owner nomination of Town Hall, the round building downtown, as a historic building. This is being contested by the owner, so it wasn't the owner that recommended it be deemed historic. The owner is the city of Greeley. So there will be a hearing on that. Depending on the outcome of that, there will be a public hearing and 2nd reading of the ordinance that would designate that on the historic register. It's going to depend on if City Council accepts the nomination. Then there will be a public hearing and 2nd reading of an ordinance to accept the changes in language of the City Code for affordable housing. That's what I talked about last week and dived into, or 2 weeks ago, quite a bit. And a public hearing and 2nd reading to reauthorize the various commissions and boards. Again, the same ones that we talked about last time. Reminder that in those public hearings, there will be an opportunity for community members, public, to speak for up to 3 minutes, but about that topic specifically. So if you have a particular strong feeling, one way or the other, information you want to give to City Council on any of those things, you can. They will also be appointing board and commission positions that were open for the Citizen Advisory Board, Greeley Urban Renewal Authority, and Human Relations Commission. I actually did apply for and interviewed for the Human Relations Commission. And then, yeah, so that is the overview. Then they'll just do the city attorney giving her permission to write up any ordinances, those pieces. So for those of you that want just a little bit more of a deep dive, the Ferguson Community Park and Dog Park, they spoke about, that's in the consent agenda. The bid right now for design came through at $360,867. Good news is that's almost $140,000 below the budget that they'd set for it, which was $500,000. I did notice that initially when they had sent out the survey to residents, it was showing that construction was set to begin in May of 2026. That has now been pushed back to fall to winter of 2027. So they'll be looking at that resolution just to enter in that agreement. As I was talking about the intergovernmental agreement for the water supply and storage company. So WSSC is a nonprofit mutual ditch company that owns and operates storage and delivery system for water. This includes various ditches, canals, reservoirs for delivery of water from the Cache La Poudre. So what they're looking at doing is getting us set up with Thornton, Greeley, Fort Collins, East Larimer County Water District, Fort Collins, Loveland Water District, and North Weld County Water District, all to create one committee that's going to work together in order to cover costs of any modifications to that system, any upgrades, that stuff. So Thornton has already put in $6 million in expenditures, and so they will be looking, if this committee passes, that basically all the other entities kind of have to catch up, that's going to be as credit for Thornton. Ultimately, this will decide the share percentages of the costs. Once that $6 million is accounted for at a proportional level for all of the other entities, Thornton will cover about 67%, Greeley will cover about 11% of costs, and it goes from there. But until that $6 million credit is accounted for, Greeley will actually cover about 33% of the cost. But this will help with construction, operation, and maintenance of the WSSE system. So if City Council votes to send that through, then it will move into then just signing the agreement with the WSSC and the Municipal Entities Committee, essentially. So in the regular agenda, as I had said, there's the non-owner nomination for City Hall. Right now, in order for nomination, they had to meet criteria. There is a full application in the agenda packet if you wanted to look at it, but the City of Greeley is contesting it as the owner. So city staff, the applicant, the owner will all present evidence to council as to why it should or should not be designated as a on the historic register. And the property must demonstrate that it possesses characteristics of compelling historic importance to the entire community. And City Council will have to make sure that it meets at least one of the following criteria: either unusual or uncommon significance, that the structure's potential demolition or major alteration would diminish the character and sense of place in the community, or superior outstanding examples of architectural, historical, or geographical significance. Superior means excellence of its kind, and outstanding means marked by eminence and distinction. So just to keep in mind, there's a reason for sure that City of Greeley is contesting this. If the building does go on the historic register, this totally changes the plan for City Center, where they were going to bring in the school district, the county, and the city buildings all into that block downtown. City Hall is kind of right in the center of that. So it will be interesting to see what that hearing looks like. So for the second one, that's the public hearing and second reading of the ordinance that they brought last time, this is all based on the one before. If City Council votes to deny the historic designation, then they can either table the ordinance or deny the ordinance and basically say, nope, it's not happening, we're not moving forward with it, or we're waiting to get more information. If the City Council votes to affirm or modify the historic designation, so they decide that it does deserve to be on the register or they want to see adjustments, then either they'll adopt the residence as presented or amend the ordinance and adopt that as amended. Or they could continue consideration of the ordinance as they keep going, ask for more information, look into it more. Okay, then as I said, the public hearing and second reading of the zoning stuff is stuff that we already talked about last week. City staff does have a presentation if requested, and there will be an opportunity for public input. So if you didn't like the language of the changes that I talked about last time, this would be an opportunity to speak to that. And then for the board and commission positions. So for these boards and commissions, you do apply. And then there are interviews done once a month. So the last round of interviews was December 4th, and there will always be 2 city council members at those. So for the one that I was in, and I don't know if they cover the whole month, I think so, it was Councilmember DeBeauty and Councilmember McDonald. Then the city council members that were in the interview will then make a recommendation to City Council. City attorney will advise if there are any conflicts of interest after she has reviewed the applications. And then they will vote to either appoint people into that position or not. So right now, the Citizen Budget Advisory Committee had 3 positions open. There's a 3-year term. There are 2 people who are incumbents. They've already been on that committee, and that is Brandon Wark and Nicole Eatman. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. But they applied to be reappointed. And then there were 3 other people, Barry Eastman, John Scholl, and Nicole Reiner. So there are 5 people for 3 positions, so it'll depend a lot on what city council members who interviewed recommend there. For the Urban Renewal Authority, there's one position which is a 5-year term, and there is the incumbent, Nicole Reiner, who applied again, and someone new, which is Nicole Eatman, which I noticed that I'm wondering if they're looking at trading or taking one or the other of those two boards, because they're on both of them. And then the Human Relations Commission had 3 open positions, but only 2 people applied and were interviewed, and that is Ricardo Perez and myself. So they're still recruiting for additional applicants in order to fill that. But that is really the last thing on the agenda that matters. They will be appointing those positions, and it will be interesting to see what that process looks like. I haven't seen that yet. So hopefully this helps. I'll try to do a recap after the meeting of anything prominent, and if you have questions or needs or ideas of how you might like these videos to go different, please let me know. Thanks. Have a great day, y'all.